Hello, and welcome again to another day of classes. Today we're going to be continuing with the Interchange 5th edition level 3, the Green Book, and today we're going to be continuing and finishing the unit 15. If you remember from the previous class, we started with, um, making recommendations about social issues, and we were looking at the grammar of giving recommendations and opinions, okay? Today, we're going to be giving opinions about laws and social issues by using the grammar of tag questions. That's gonna be interesting. But to start with this, we have a word power, community issues. Which of these issues are problems in your community? Check the appropriate boxes. Well, basically, you can comment down below what are community issues in your countries or in your communities. Okay? Maybe you have bullying there, some homelessness, maybe street crime, vandalism, stray animals, overcrowded classrooms, lack of affordable childcare, noise pollution, irregular trash collection, inadequate healthcare, or homelessness. In my case, in my community, there are problems with um I think it's what is it? Where is it? Irregular trash collection. That is a problem that we have here, and also noise pollution. That's something that is really common in Dominican Republic. So yeah, what are some other community issues that you have in your community? Please comment them down below. Okay, now we're gonna continue with that conversation. It's not easy, is it? Interesting. It's not easy, is it? This right here is what we're gonna be talking in just a minute. But before that, we're gonna listen to both part A and part B from this conversation between Mara and Ted. And then after listening to both parts, we're gonna answer the question, what is Ted concerned about? Okay? Okay, so let's listen.
Page 103. Exercise 8. Conversation. It's not easy, is it? Part A. Listen and practice.
I need to find a new apartment. I can't stand the noise from all those bars and clubs in my neighborhood anymore.
I can imagine. And it isn't easy to find a nice apartment in a quiet neighborhood, is it?
No, it's not. And my rent is already sky high. I'm having a hard time making ends meet.
I know. Everything is really expensive nowadays, isn't it?
It sure is. You know, I'm looking for childcare for my baby, but I just can't find anything affordable in the area.
The city should provide free childcare to working families.
I think so too, but unfortunately the mayor doesn't.
Page 103. Exercise 8. Part B. Listen to the rest of the conversation. What is Ted concerned about?
Oh, listen to me. I'm always complaining, aren't I? Anyway, how are things with you?
Oh, not bad. But I'm still not sure what I'm gonna do after I graduate.
Yeah, it's hard to find a job these days, isn't it?
It's not that. I'm just not sure if going to engineering school was the right thing to do.
What do you mean?
I only have a few more months before I graduate, and now I'm wondering why I did this. I don't want to be an engineer. It all seems like a waste of time now.
So what are you gonna do?
Well, I'd like to move to Hawaii and set up a surfing school, but I think my parents would flip.
Okay, very good. Well, well, Ted, you're in a bit of trouble with that. Well, did you get the answer for this question? What is Ted concerned about? If you do, let's check. Well, Ted is concerned about what he's going to do after he graduates because he is graduating from engineering and he wants to go to arts. So yeah, that's gonna be a problem for you, Ted, isn't it? It's going to be a problem for you, isn't it? Okay, so here they were using the tag question that is it, isn't it, is it, these sentences that ends with this question. So it's something that is really useful and interesting about the English language, a way to give opinions in the form of questions. And that's what we're gonna be talking about right now with the tag questions for opinions, okay? As always, I have some material for this that it's more complete. Okay, so the tag questions for opinions. Let's start by saying that when we use the tag questions for opinions, it's basically that we give an opinion and end it with a question, like to ask back the opinion of the other person that you're talking about. Maybe you have a posture, you're thinking about something in a way, but you're not sure if the other person feels the same. So you give your opinion, but at the end you ask the question to know, and that it's called a tag. This right here, isn't it, aren't there, doesn't she, shouldn't it, is it, are they, do they, can you? All of these are the tags, okay? This whole thing is the tag question, but this is the tag. And there are two ways to use it. It's actually quite easy. The two ways to use it, it's either with affirmative sentence statements or negative statement. And it's that you need to use the opposite. If you say an affirmative statement, you put a negative tag or a question in negative, so to say. If you put a negative statement, you put an affirmative tag or a question in positive. Okay? Everything is really expensive nowadays, isn't it? And if you notice, you need to follow the same verb that was used in the sentence. Okay? For example, if we are using is in an affirmative statement, then the negative tag should be isn't. It's the negative with the same verb. Everything is really expensive nowadays, isn't it? And then it's here is when the other person can give their opinions. Oh, like, not really, I think everything's better now. Or, yes, it's being really expensive nowadays. Okay, let's see some more examples. There are lots of clubs around here. Aren't there? Okay, aren't. Mara likes her apartment, doesn't she? This is simple present, so it's do or does. Okay, so likes, it's doesn't. Mara likes her apartment, doesn't she? And also, you need to follow the same type of pronoun that it's being used. Okay, everything. We're talking about a thing. So, everything is. Isn't it? It is for the everything that is a thing. There are. Aren't there? Mara likes. Or she likes. That's another way to say it. Doesn't she? The city, it's a thing, so it's it. Mara likes her apartment, doesn't she? The city should provide childcare, shouldn't it? Okay, shouldn't. The city, it's a thing, it. And then the other way around. We say something in negative and then we put the affirmative tag. It isn't easy to find a nice apartment, is it? Okay, so we started with the negative here, but then we put it in affirmative. There aren't any noise pollution laws, are there? Her neighbors don't make much noise, do they? You can't sleep because of the noise, can you? Okay. Tag questions added to statements in the simple present and simple past use the corresponding auxiliary verb in the tag. You agree with me, don't you? You don't agree with me, do you? You paid the rent, didn't you? You didn't pay the electric bill, did you? Okay, very good. Okay, tag questions, some other things. What are the tag questions in the sentences? It's a positive or negative affirmation and the auxiliary subject, that is the tag question. Oh, hi, I remember you from English class. Your name is Janet, isn't it? Your name is your name is Janet, isn't it? Your name is thing, so it's it. Yeah, it is. And you're Manuel, aren't you? You are Manuel, aren't you? Okay. It's the opposite form of the auxiliary in the tag question. Is, isn't. It, your name is it. It's the thing. So we're, this is repeating what I already said. Subject pronoun used in the tag question. Okay. So remember, I, you, he, she, it, we, they, or they, we. Your name is Janet, isn't it? Okay. So here are some special cases for the tag question. Okay. Let's. After a sentence with let's, like let's do this, we use shall we. Okay, so we start a sentence with let's. We use the shall we. Let's go to the library after school, shall we? Let's study English tomorrow, shall we? I am. The negative question tag am I not has no contraction, so we prefer a very ungrammatical contraction, but which is correct for questions. Aren't I? So if you use I am, we use aren't I. I'm still the leader of the group. Aren't I? I'm going out. Aren't I? Imperatives. If the main clause is an imperative, we mainly use the tag will you. Okay, mainly. Not all of the cases, but almost all of them. Be here at 8 in the morning. Will you? Clean your table. Will you? Here you can also use could. Could you? Use of tag pronouns. After a class with somebody, someone, everybody, everyone, nobody, no one, the tag pronoun is normally they, okay? So if you're using either one of these, it's the tag pronoun is they. Somebody told you that story, didn't they? No one came while I was out, did they? And after a class with nothing, the tag pronoun is normally it. Nothing is wrong, is it? Negative adverbs. Adverbs with a negative sense in the sentence clause lead to the use of an affirmative tag. Example, hardly, scarcely, rarely, never, etc. Okay? So this something like this that has a negative sense. It's usually said for negative things. Usually needs to be followed with affirmative tags. Sam never comes on time, does he? They rarely visit their parents, do they? Okay, very good. Now let's go to the book. Now we already know all of this and it's really easy. And if you really understand, please complete this exercise right here. You're gonna add the tag questions to these statements, okay? Okay, take your time to complete this and then we're gonna check. Okay, you finished? Let's check. Okay, there aren't enough shelter for the homeless. Are there? Vandalism makes a neighborhood very unpleasant, doesn't it? In overcrowded classrooms, teachers can't give enough attention to students, can they? School bullying is a major problem in most schools, isn't it? There are more street crimes in big cities than in small towns, aren't there? The government should provide adequate health care to everyone, shouldn't it? The city doesn't do enough for stray animals, does it? It isn't easy to save money these days. Is it? Okay, if you have these answers, very good. You are correct. Okay, now let's continue. We're gonna be having a pronunciation. Interesting. How to intonate the tag question. What is the intonation when we use tag questions? Well, maybe you already noticed how I pronounce it, but let's also practice with the book, okay? Okay, so first we're gonna listen and then we're gonna practice, okay? Okay, so let's listen.
Page 104. Exercise 10. Pronunciation. Intonation in tag questions. Part A. Listen and practice. Use falling intonation in tag questions when you are giving an opinion and expect the other person to agree.
Noise pollution is a serious problem in our city, isn't it?
Governments should offer child care to all working families, shouldn't they?
Okay, so basically the way that you're pronouncing the tag questions is like you're giving your opinion and you're expecting the other person to agree with you. Noise pollution is a serious problem in our city, isn't it? Governments should offer child care to all working families, shouldn't they? It's like we're expecting the other person to say and think the same as us. That's when we use the tag questions, and that's why this is for opinions. Okay, very good. Now let's continue with this listening right here. Let's face it. You're gonna listen to people give their opinions about issues on the news. In the news. What issues are they talking about? And write the different opinions that you hear about those issues, okay? Okay, so take your time to listen as much times as you need, and then complete it. Then we're gonna check, okay? Okay, so let's listen.
Page 104. Exercise 11. Listening. Let's face it. Part A. Listen to people give their opinions about issues in the news. What issues are they talking about? 1.
Wow, that documentary about animals and entertainment was a little hard to watch. I mean, I love watching animals do tricks at amusement parks and circuses, but I had no idea how much they can suffer.
Yeah, some of those animals are kept in horrible conditions. That's just not right. Then they're punished and abused if they don't do what they're supposed to. And the only benefit is that the owners are making money. In most cases, they're not trying to improve the animals' living conditions. If it weren't for those animals, they wouldn't make any of that money.
I know, it's awful, isn't it? But I feel like some places have the right idea, too. They use the animals for entertainment, but they make sure the animals are taken care of, and they use part of the profits to rescue other animals and do research. Research, rescue, and protection of the animals. That seems more acceptable, doesn't it?
I guess. But how do we make sure that all places are acting responsibly and doing those things? I still think that animals should be in their natural habitats, not in some small space so they can help humans make money. It's just not natural.
2.
I just read in the paper that a supercenter is going to open just 5 minutes outside of town.
A supercenter? Like a drugstore, supermarket, and discount store all combined into one?
Exactly. I think it's great. The products are cheaper, and it will provide a lot of jobs for the community.
I agree that the products are cheaper, and it does create jobs, but what about the smaller, family-owned stores in town? All those small markets and clothing stores and pharmacies will now have to compete with this supercenter. And a lot of those smaller businesses will lose a lot of money because, let's face it, they can't compete.
I guess I hadn't thought about the impact on the small businesses in town.
And not only that, but I think we'll lose a lot of variety. If these smaller businesses start losing money, they will either close down or start limiting their products. Then we'll have fewer choices when we go shopping.
Yeah, I guess big companies aren't always good for small businesses, are they?
Okay, very good. Did you get the answers for all of this? Because maybe it's a lot, so you should, listen to it one more time, going back in the video. But if not, or if you already listened to it again, let's go and check. Okay, so the two issues are animals used for entertainment and supercenters. And what are the opinions for and against? Well, on the things about the animals, the opinion for them is that they use the profits for research, rescue, and protections of the animals. But against that is that animals are punished and abused if they don't do things right. They are kept in horrible conditions, and it's not natural for them to be in small spaces. And number two, about the supercenters, it's a good thing because the products are cheaper and they provide a lot of jobs for the community, but it's against because the smaller businesses can't compete with supercenters and they lose a lot of money, either closing down or limiting their products. Consumers will have fewer options or choices when they go shopping. If you have these answers, very good, you are correct. Okay, now let's go to the last thing for the day, that is, as always, a reading. Okay, so you're gonna take your time to read this topic. That's plagiarism. And then after you have read this, we're gonna be doing these two exercises right here. Read the article and then answer these questions, okay? So, number one, what is the author's main purpose in writing the piece? Okay, oh, sorry. Take your time to complete this. You did? Okay, let's do it. What is the author's main purpose in writing the piece? Well, it's to explain what plagiarism is and how it can happen and how to avoid it. Number two, why might it be easy to commit plagiarism by accident? It's because so much material is available and it's not always clear who wrote it. And the last one, what questions should you ask yourself in order to avoid plagiarism? Are all of these words my own? Okay, very good. And then next one, look at the following situation. Do you think they are describing plagiarism or not? If they are, do you think it was accidental or intentional? Okay, very good. Stacy copied a paragraph from a travel website and pasted it into her essay about Aruba. She put it into quotation marks and included the name and the link of the website. That is not plagiarism. John works for a bank. He copied a paragraph from a website. He changed some words and rearranged some of the sentences, and he did not indicate where it came from. He used it in a brochure for the bank. That is plagiarism. Either he thought it was okay to use the material if he changed it in some ways, or he intended to commit plagiarism. Number 3. Julie read an article online and later wrote her own essay about the same subject. Some of her wording was exactly the same as the online article. It was plagiarism but accidental. And the last one, Mitch borrowed a friend's essay to get some ideas for his own. Their teacher said that their essays were almost identical. That was plagiarism and probably intentional. So yeah, bad for you, Mitch. Okay, well, that's been everything for today, but I hope that you liked the class for today. It was really interesting with the tag questions and now talking about plagiarism. So, yeah, really interesting. I hope that you like this class, and on the next class, we're going to be starting with the last unit of the book, Reaching Your Goals. Okay, well, but that's for another day. So, that's been everything for today, so see you in the next time. Bye.